You're listening to the Thriving Mindfully podcast. I'm Ananda Leeke, your Thriving Mindfully coach and podcast host. I'm also an artist, an author, a human design doula, and an interfaith reverend. The Thriving Mindfully podcast is a heart-centered, digital sacred space that I created to inspire and empower you to be present, well, and the real you. Tune into the latest conversation I've been having with myself and others about nurturing, transforming, and celebrating our lives, relationships, and career. May is a month that has a lot of reminders for me. One, it is the month where many of us observe Mental Health Awareness Month. And whenever I get to the month of May, I always have an opportunity to kind of slow it down and check in with myself and my commitment towards my own wellness. And when I speak of wellness, I'm talking about the act of becoming aware of and making healthy choices that support and strengthen my spiritual, my emotional, my mental, my physical, and my creative energy and well-being. I know that's a lot because I love words. So I'm going to break it down for you. So wellness, the act of becoming aware of, that right there makes me go straight to mindfulness. And mindfulness is always the starting point for me, because with that awareness, when I'm choosing to use my birthright of mindfulness, that awareness, I get to practice through choice. I practice being present to what's happening inside and outside of myself. And when I do that, when I practice my birthright of mindfulness, I am saying to myself and I'm demonstrating that I'm choosing to notice if I'm making healthy choices that can create wellness in my life, in my career, and in my business. So when we look at wellness as the act of becoming aware of and making healthy choices, just those two words, healthy choices, that for me brings up self-care. Self-care is another one of the birthrights that I claim, and I invite you to claim too. Self-care is this act of nurturing your spirit, your heart, your mind, your body, breath, and life in ways that uplift you. Self-care practices like meditation. And in May, we also have an opportunity to observe National Meditation Month. For me, meditation is every day. Meditation is one of those self-care practices that make wellness come alive in my life, in my career, and in my business. Self-care practices like meditation help me strengthen and support my energy and well-being. So when we go back to that definition of wellness, that act of becoming aware, that's that mindfulness of making healthy choices. That's that self-care, choosing things that are gonna help me practice self-care in an effort to support and strengthen my well-being and my energy. And I look at my energy and my well-being as spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, and creative. So in doing all of those things, I am often brought to a place of self-discovery, because in order to know what works best for me, what's going to help me support and strengthen my spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, and creative energy and well-being, I got to take time to know myself. And knowing myself is a lifelong journey of self-discovery. And it has its ups and downs and in-betweens. And over the past 20 plus years or more, I have gotten to know myself from the inside out. I've looked inside and I've noticed that there are different parts of me. And those different parts of me, I like to call archetypes or inner women. An archetype is a personality that lives inside of yourself. And it's a term that was coined by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. And he says that archetypes refer to the various personalities that live inside of each of us. And I'm paraphrasing that. And so for me, when I started working with archetypes and the inner women that live inside of me, I noticed that they were really windows of self-discovery because they invite me to explore, embrace, and accept myself. They bring me closer to myself in ways that allow for all of my personalities to serve my highest and greatest good. I have probably spent more time than I probably should have identifying and nurturing and welcoming my inner women, my archetypes into my life, making them comfortable. I have written a memoir called That Which Awakens Me. It's a mindful creativity memoir. And when I was writing the book, I took time out to have a photo shoot for each of my 8 archetypes. Yes, I did that. Not once. I've done that a couple times. And for me, knowing my inner women and spending time getting to know them through journaling, through drawing, through writing poetry about them, through photography, having their own photo shoots, that has really helped me see that each of my archetypes, I have 8, all of those inner women, they are team players that I can tap into to use their strengths and share their gifts with one goal in mind: thriving mindfully, living from this heart-centered approach, being present well in the real me. Now, I want to introduce you to my 8 different archetypes. And I believe that all of us have at least 1, 2, or 3 of them in our lives. And so I happen to refer to them as inner women. You can refer to them as inner men or inner people or archetypes. I have even named mine. So I'm going to start with the wise woman. I call her Ancestor. She is a griot. She's a storyteller. She's wise. She greets me every day that I look in the mirror. She reminds me to embrace the beauty and the complexity of my African, Indigenous, and European heritages. She tells me stories that connect the meaning of my life to my family's past, and she invites me to surrender my ego on a regular and to live from my heart. That's that thriving mindfully approach to being present well in the real me. Her wisdom convinces me to keep opening my heart on a daily basis so that I can love and forgive myself. I can give myself grace. And when I'm able to do that, I can do that for others. So, that is the wise woman. I want to pause and ask you, do you have a wise person that lives inside of you, that guides you? Just think about it. So next up is my spirit woman. My spirit woman is known as Ananda. Ananda is a Sanskrit word that means God's eternal bliss or joy. Ananda is also a loving kindness mother. Each day she helps me turn within to dedicate my mind, my spirit, my heart, my body, and breath to meditation and self-care. With her, I really make healthy choices come alive in my world, because she is always about connecting the spirit, the heart, the mind, and the body, and the breath. Her mission is to connect me with the oneness of humanity from the inside out. And she nurtures me as only a mother can. I feel her warmth, I feel her kindness, and her unconditional love. When I doubt myself and I act smaller than I really am, Ananda, my spirit woman, reassures me that everything is going to be all right. She also reminds me to live from my heart, to embrace and express thriving mindfully. She tells me over and over again what the abolitionist Mama Harriet Tubman said: you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars and change the world. Ananda, my spirit woman, always has my back. Yeah. So do you have a spirit person living inside of you? And what does it look like? What does it feel like? What is your spirit person telling you? How does your spirit person show up in your life? So my third archetype or inner woman is Kiamsha, my creative woman. Kiamsha is a Swahili word that means that which awakens me. Kiamsha came into my life when I was 27 and I was at a crossroads, and I was realizing that the dreams I had as a teenage girl to a young woman to be a lawyer, that was not my path any longer. Something else wanted to be born. Something else needed my full attention. And it was not until my career as a lawyer, the way that I had dreamed it, that I had to let it go and let it manifest in the way that it needed to. It wasn't until my 27th year, and if you follow astrology, that was my beginning of my first Saturn return. It wasn't until then that I realized that the creativity that I had as a child, I always wrote words and made cards with words and drew things and wrote poetry as a preteen, as a teenager, and writing was a release for me, my creativity. It wasn't until I felt like my life as I had dreamed it was over and I didn't know what was next. It wasn't until I dived back into my creativity that a door opened for me. A door opened for me to write out the anger, write out the fear, write out the depression, write out all of those things. And so Kiamsha showed up, my creative woman, and she helped me plant healing seeds from a portfolio of sacred practices. The creative expression was the first piece. changing how I showed up in the world in terms of becoming a vegan and a vegetarian, and learning about green living, learning how to honor Mother Earth and the choices that I made as a person who purchases products, uses things and the resources around me. And then diving deeper into self-care for myself, but also how I could help others practice self-care. She, as my creative woman, Kiamsha, helped me plant seeds, and those seeds were nurtured by her into a space that became a container, a sacred container, that now has taken over my life. Those were the seeds of thriving mindfully way back when. I had no idea. It's like been 30 years that was happening. But that was Kiamsha, my creative woman. She planted those seeds, and she is the embodiment of the sacred feminine in my life. And she laid the foundation for who I am as an artist, as a writer and a poet and an author, as a thriving mindfully coach, as a interfaith reverend, as a human design doula, as a Reiki practitioner, sound healing practitioner, a meditation and yoga teacher. Kiamsha, my creative woman, she planted those seeds and continues to plant seeds and help me tap into that intuition, that Ancestor and my spirit woman used to give me wisdom. She really shines light on that intuition and helps me trust it and bring it into my life, into my creativity, into all parts of me. So the next moment, I want us to take a deep breath in and then out. And just for a moment, I want you to sit with who is your creative person inside of you, because we're all born creative, and you don't necessarily have to be the type of creative that most people think of, like an artist. We are all born creative. There are things in your life that you put your unique mark on. Maybe it is the way that you dress. Maybe it's the way that you decorate your home. Maybe it is the way that you write, the way that you speak, the way that you put things together and organizing them. Maybe you love different colors or music. Maybe it's how you take care of your plants, how you cook. We are all creative beings. So just taking a moment here to think about your creative person and how your creative person shows up in your life. So the next archetype, the fourth archetype, is my CEO woman. She started out as a CEO woman. I'm telling you. Her name is Madelyn. Madelyn is the name that I was given at birth. I meant to say that before I even jump into that, I wanted to say that Ananda is the name that I chose at 40. I went through a very, very intense transition, and becoming 40 was my commitment to live out this healing person, this healer. And Ananda was the name for me. So now, Madelyn, back to Madelyn. Okay, so Madelyn initially showed up in my life as my CEO inner woman, my chief executive officer. Over the years, we have developed a relationship where she was running the show full time. The others were just on the sidelines. We've had some restructuring over the last 10, 15 years, and she is now my chief operating officer. As my chief operating officer, she is the one that keeps everything moving. She keeps the lights on. She is organized. She makes sure that we have health insurance. She makes sure that we have groceries. She makes sure the clothes get washed. She keeps me moving. She makes sure the home is cleaned. She makes sure that the podcasts get recorded, that the clients are serviced, all of that. She makes the travel arrangements. She handles all of the details of my day-to-day living. She works with the accountant on the taxes. She gets the plumber in to put in a new toilet. You get it. She takes care of all the details. Before I developed a relationship with her where she didn't have so much power in terms of impacting all of me, she was running shit. And as my CEO, at that time, my CEO woman, she was fierce. She had one message. She was in charge. And she didn't want to listen to anybody else because she knew her way was the only way. She was authoritarian. She was rationally thinking, analytical, action-oriented. She was brazen. Nothing wrong with those, but she was in charge and didn't take stuff from nobody. She was stubborn and she didn't work well with the team. So she definitely didn't want to deal with the other parts of me. Over the years, I have developed a relationship with her where a lot of her need to be in full control was based on fear. The fear that she wasn't enough, didn't have enough, and always had to make sure she had to do things. She didn't want to rely on others. So now, as the chief operating officer, she still has moments where she acts up, but she goes into partnership with my inner critic, Broomhilda, who is affectionately known as Broomie, because my inner critic is also my chief information assistant. She gives me information on what she thinks. I don't necessarily have to follow it. That's another story for another time. But yeah, Madelyn as a chief operating officer, if the inner critic, Broomhilda, and my warrior woman, Sapphire, are involved, and my little girl, Puff, are involved, and there's fear, then she's going to be acting crazy. When she is in alignment with everyone, she's able to function as the chief operating officer. Now, let's take a deep breath in and then out. And I want you to take a moment to explore if you have a chief executive officer person in your life, a CEO inside of you. Do you have an inner CEO? Or maybe you have an inner COO, Chief Operating Officer. Just take a moment. What does your inner CEO or inner COO, what do they look and feel like in your life? How do they show up? So, the next person I want to talk about, the fifth archetype, and again, you don't have to have 8 archetypes, okay? I'm giving this as a buffet. You look and see what resonates best for you. You may just have 1, 2, or 3. Whatever it is, you do you, and I'm going to do me with my 8 archetypes. Okay, so my 5th archetype, my 5th inner woman is Cheryl. Cheryl is my middle name. I am named after my godmother, Cheryl Saunders, and I also share the middle name of my cousin, Janet Cheryl. So Cheryl is my balanced woman. She is my peacekeeper as well. She is all about jetting in and out of complex situations with grace and ease. She is a diplomatic ambassador, and her job in my life is to negotiate, mediate, and create harmony and balance within my council of great 8. That's what I call them, the great 8. Those are my archetypes. So she starts with prayer and ends with listening to all parties involved with an open heart. So she really is able to embrace and express thriving mindfully, because she has this heart-centered approach to showing up with grace and ease as a diplomatic ambassador. When she negotiates, she mediates, and she creates harmony and balance within all of my inner women. Her intention, much like Ancestors, my spirit woman, Ananda, my creative woman, Kiamsha, her intention is to seek the highest good. And she doesn't rely on her own counsel like my COO, Madelyn. She always takes whatever concerns she has to a higher source. You could call it spirit, creator, God, goddess. She goes within and taps into source, the universe. And she listens, and what she conveys is a truth that can be heard by all. So let's take a big breath in and then out. So do you have a balanced person, a peacemaker that lives inside of you? What role does your balanced or peacemaker or diplomatic person play in your life? So my 6th inner woman is Sapphire. Sapphire is my warrior woman. I love me some Sapphire because, see, Sapphire has a couple roles. Sapphire, first and foremost, is a sexy goddess. She is fierce. If you are thinking of goddesses, there are 3 powerful goddesses that she embodies. the Yoruba goddess Oya, the Hindu goddess Kali, and the Hindu goddess Durga. Yeah, look them up if you don't know. She is a dangerous thinker and a confident executor. She is also a fashionista, a minimalist, and she is all about taking care of business, looking good, feeling good, and protecting all parts of me. She doesn't ask if it's right or wrong. She just responds. If there is fear inside of me, if I'm scared, if I am walking in the unknown, stepping into something that I don't know, she shows up. She shows up. If I feel attacked, she shows up. She is right there to protect. She is somebody that I can rely on when something gets messy and it feels dangerous. She is the person to show up because she takes no prisoners. She takes no prisoners. So let's take a breath in and then out. Do you have a warrior person that lives inside of you? Do you have an inner warrior? What sets off your inner warrior? How do you know you have one? What do they look and feel like in your life? So next I want to talk about my girl, my inner critic, my chief information assistant, Broomhilda, better known as Broomie. Broomie showed up as this Tasmanian devil-like energy. Always complaining, always ripping and running, always waiting for the shoe to drop. She could see no good. She was always looking for stuff, judging, criticizing, blaming, shaming. And to be honest, as my chief information assistant, Broomie still does a lot of that. Her voice isn't always as loud as it has been, and she has gotten to a place where she now sees that she's heard. She's not pushed aside, put in a corner. She's not treated as separate and apart from me. Part of the issue with my inner critic, Broomhilda, who is also Broomie, part of the issue with her was that I would never let her speak. I would never pay attention to her when she would try to tell me things, because it always sounded crazy. And so several years ago, I started journaling about her and asking her what was really up. And I learned that as my inner critic, she had information that she was trying to get to me. She wasn't concerned if I was going to use the information or not. She just wanted to be acknowledged that she, one, has information that matters, whether I make a decision about it or not, doesn't, but she wanted to be seen and heard. She didn't want to be treated like a second-class citizen. She wanted to be a full member of my inner council. And so I gave her another job to do as my chief information assistant. So now when she starts to criticize or judge or blame or shame or complain, I ask, what information are you trying to share with me? And when that information comes, I say thank you. I say thank you because it allows me to honor my inner critic, and it turns the volume down on her wreaking havoc and acting like a Tasmanian devil all through up and down my body, my spirit, my heart, and my mind. And when I acknowledge her, I'm giving her space to show up as she is, a full part of me. Because sometimes the information, truth be told, sometimes, maybe 10% of the time, that information is something that I needed. Maybe not to carry it out in the way that she wanted me to, but to be aware of it. And so, thanking her for sharing that information is what has helped us establish a better and a stronger relationship. So, who is your inner critic? Let's take a breath on that one. Inhale and exhale. And if you have an inner critic, which I think most of us do, why do you resist your inner critic? Why do you resist your inner critic? Why? And what can you do to befriend your inner critic? Because that's what I had to do with Broomie, is befriend her by listening to her and seeing her and acknowledging her, not following her advice, but just acknowledging that she was sharing information. All right, so let's take a deep breath in and then out. So my last archetype is Puff, my little girl. Who is your inner child? That's what we're talking about. So Puff is the childhood nickname that I got when I was a little girl, probably a toddler. And I got that name because I had puffy cheeks, and it was the 60s, and they had this song called Puff the Magic Dragon that followed me. So Puff is this bohemian Black American princess who is cool. She loves what she loves. She is all about letting the good times roll. She does not care about the price of anything. She just wants to have a good time. She is curious about life, having fun, traveling. She has a passion for culture and the arts. She has a positive attitude. She loves life. But here's the deal. In all of that, when she gets scared, and she screams. When she doesn't get her way, woo, she's known for tantrums. And she is definitely one that is extremely privileged. She wants her life a certain way, and she demands it. So when she doesn't get her way, and when things don't go the way that she thinks, she raises holy hell. And in her raising holy hell, whining, whatever that is, when she has those moments. As an adult now, the adult Puff doesn't have as many moments as she used to. But she does. She lives here. Definitely in the fear part, when she's afraid, when she feels like she doesn't know all of the variables, and when she feels like she may not be able to live the way that she has grown accustomed to. She gets scared. And when she gets scared, a couple things happen. Madelyn, the chief operating officer, shows up and asks, okay, what do we need to do? Sapphire, the warrior woman, shows up and says, I'll protect you, and doesn't, is ready to rip and roll and beat ass, and just fight and just do what you need to do. And then Broomie, the chief information assistant, she shows up and has all this information, which is layered with criticism and judgment and shame and blame. And so you put all four of them together, and it is cray cray. And so that's where having this understanding of myself and all parts of myself, I can tap into the other four when the four get out there. That's when the little girl, the inner child, the warrior woman, the inner critic or chief information assistant, and the chief operating officer, when they try to take care of business, things get a little crazy. And so being able to tap into my wise woman, my spirit woman, my creative woman, and my balanced woman, my peacemaker, that really, those four help balance out all of me. And at least I get to a place where I'm able to settle down and take care of myself and listen and sit with whatever it is that's going on, or get help. Give each of the archetypes a job. Like during the pandemic, the early days of the pandemic, my inner girl, my little girl, Puff, was scared as fuck. And so one of the things that I was able to do is I was able to give the warrior woman and the chief operating officer, Sapphire and Madelyn, I was able to give them the job of finding a therapist and a business coach that we felt comfortable with and safe with. And then for the chief information assistant, Broomie, we gave her the job of reminding us to stay away from the social media and all of the things that were going on, and to be very careful when we did go on social media to only look at those things that were uplifting. And then for Puff, we gave her the job of making sure that we had something fun to do every day, whether that was something fun to cook, bike ride, listen to music, make something, draw, laugh, watch something funny, call someone to laugh and talk with. But we put her in charge of having fun. So those are my inner women, my inner people, my archetypes. And I want to invite you to think about, because I didn't give you an opportunity to pause and think about your inner child. So let's just take a breath. Inhale and then exhale. Do you have an inner child? And what does your inner child look and feel like in your life? And what do they want you to know? Okay? So the good thing about this podcast is that you can stop it and journal or sit and reflect or stand or walk and reflect to these prompts that I've offered. Now, back to what I was saying. Being able to connect with myself and get to know myself from the inside out with this heart-centered approach of thriving mindfully, being present, well, in the real me, has helped me see all of myself. And I continue to evolve and grow. And so with that, my inner people, my archetypes, they continue to grow and evolve. And having an understanding of myself allows me to determine what is it that I need in terms of my spiritual, emotional, physical, and mental, creative energy and well-being. I can only answer those questions when I'm in touch with myself. I can only take better care of myself when I understand what the different parts of me need in terms of self-care. And that's one thing I had to revisit during the early days of the pandemic. I had to go in and ask each one of my archetypes, what did they need in order to be taken care of? Because what I was doing in terms of self-care, it wasn't sustaining me. It was not sustaining me. And so I had to slow my living, which is the first core commitment of thriving mindfully. That is becoming aware, being mindful of who I am and who lives inside of me, and what is it that they are trying to say that they need. And then with that information and that connection with myself, knowing myself better, taking time to ask myself, what is it that I need? I was able to do a better job of sustaining my living. That is the second core commitment of thriving mindfully. That is all about taking care of myself, uplifting myself. And then being able to understand myself by being aware of who I am and what I need in order to take care of myself, that just gives me a stronger foundation for sharing my living with myself and others. And share my living is the third core commitment of thriving mindfully. And that is all about mindful communication and relationships, first with myself and then with others. By taking the time to know and appreciate and connect with and develop a relationship with my inner women, I'm able to understand how it's best to communicate with myself. How am I talking to myself? I'm able to tune in and see if I'm criticizing myself. Is my chief information assistant / inner critic Broomie running wild because I take time to slow down and I can hear that? Or do I need to shift how I communicate with myself? Am I truly listening? All of that has happened because I've gotten to know the different parts of myself. I've established relationships with them. That's that share your living, mindful communication and relationship, first with yourself and then with others. So the fourth core commitment of thriving mindfully is serve through your living. Serve through your living. And by having a relationship and mindfully communicating with my 8 archetypes that make up me, I'm able to really tap into the gifts that I have, the new gifts that may be emerging, and how I can serve humanity with my gifts. And I have to say that in the last several months, my creative woman, Kiamsha, and my ancestor, my wise woman, and my spirit woman, Ananda, they have all been stepping up and helping me get to a place of a routine in my life, a stronger routine. And they've worked with my chief operating officer, Madelyn, in making sure that we have a stronger foundation and how we show up in the world, how we interact at home, how we take care of home, business, body, mind, spirit, heart, life. We have a schedule Some days it's a looser schedule than others, but that schedule helped me have time to create the art that my creative woman, Kiamsha, was given to me. I was able to create the art and to have an event in March during Women's History Month that celebrated my creative journey since 1992 with my wire sculptures, some of the first pieces that I created as an artist, and improve how I created them. Like over the years, they've grown. So, yeah. Serve through your living. How we share your gifts. How you share your gifts in the world. With your family, your friends, your community, with the larger society, in your career, in your business, in your volunteer work, in your organizations. Yeah, knowing yourself from the inside out can definitely help you tap into gifts and skills and experiences that you can integrate or incorporate into your portfolio of gifts and talents and skills. So the final core commitment is self-celebration. It is savor your living, which is all about identifying your small, medium, and big wins, celebrating them on a regular basis. And let me tell you, my inner girl, my inner child, Puff, she loves to celebrate. And so this is really her wheelhouse. Celebration, like that song Kool and the Gang sang, celebration. Did I say it right? Celebrate good times. Come on. I think that's how it goes. But anyway, if you don't know the song, look it up on YouTube. So yeah, Puff loves to celebrate. She's mad crazy about celebration. She's my archetype for savor my living, celebrating. And she loves to do it on a regular basis. So that's a bit much, right? You got a whole lot on this podcast episode, and I want to encourage you to explore your inner people. Maybe you have 1, 2, or 3, or maybe you have more, but explore them and see, what does your wise person want you to know? What does your spirit person, your creative person, your peacemaker person, your diplomatic person, that's that diplomat, that's the peacemaker, that's the balanced person. What does your chief executive officer or chief operating officer person want you to know and do? And then your inner critic or your chief information assistant, what is going on with them? What are they complaining about? What are they judging? What are they blaming? What information are they trying to share with you? Not that you have to make a decision or act on anything that they provide, but just acknowledging what they are trying to share with you and thanking them. Befriending your inner critic and chief information assistant. And then we have the warrior person. What causes your warrior person to protect you? Exploring that, and exploring what your warrior person wants to do in your life. Where are they calling you to step it up, show up more, and show out more? And then finally, we have Puff, not Puff, but the inner child. What does your inner child want you to experience? Maybe it's more play, maybe it's fun, maybe it's celebration. Exploring your inner child. Yeah, so I think I've left you with quite a bit. I want to encourage you to take some time and explore. And always let me know how you're doing on your wellness journey and getting to know yourself and exploring the different parts of you. Drop me a line on social media. You can catch me on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube at Ananda Leeke. You can also go to my website and click on the contact page. You'll see it online and leave me a message, or you can email me at ananda@anandaleeke.com. I'd love to hear from you. You can also leave a message wherever you find this podcast. I'd love to hear how your journey is going. Well, as I always like to say, may we all continue to embrace thriving mindfully in everything that we think, feel, say, and do. Have a great day. See you next time. I want to welcome you to the Thriving Mindfully movement. That's right, Thriving Mindfully is a heart-centered approach to being present, well, and the real you. It is an approach, a path to taking care of yourself, and it is a movement. And it started over 30 years ago. I wasn't calling it Thriving Mindfully. It has morphed into it. And I've been using the term Thriving Mindfully since 2016. And this year, if you're listening, is 2023, marks the 7th year of sharing Thriving Mindfully with you in community. And so every connection and interaction that I've been blessed to have with folks just like you around Thriving Mindfully has affirmed my calling and my life's work. It's all about Thriving Mindfully. I'm deeply grateful for the connection that we share, whether you have attended an in-person event, an online event, whether you've listened to a podcast, watched a video, followed me on social media, left a comment, liked something, whether you have sent me a DM or shared a podcast or signed up for my newsletter, whatever it is, we are connected and we are in community. And I'm so very grateful for your presence, your positive energy, and your love. And so the Thriving Mindfully movement is what Spirit has given me. And I got the download, I call it a divine download, in April of 2023 in meditation. And so I decided to follow it and to allow it to unfold. And now it's unfolding in an event series and expressing itself in the Soft as Fuck Sundays. And this is a quarterly event series. And I wanted to let you know that Soft as Fuck Sunday is coming up on June 25th at 2 to 3 p.m. at Key Kratom CBDT, 1517 U Street, Northwest in DC. And so we're going to meet, and you're going to have an opportunity to experience sacred space for meditation, drawing, journaling, intention setting, and community sharing. also experience a sound bath meditation. So, this June 25th session will explore the summer solstice wisdom. And so during each of the Soft as Fuck Sunday sessions, you're going to have a chance to hear about the moon and seasonal wisdom. And so since it's June 25th, we'll be looking at the summer solstice. We're going to meet again on September 24th at 2 to 3 p.m. and the focus will be on the autumn equinox. And then we come back on December 10th and we do a winter solstice prep, because the winter solstice is not until around the 21st, 22nd of December. So all of the events will be held at Key Kratom CBDT at 1517 U Street Northwest. The investment for you is $23. Go to anandaleeke.com/soft to learn more. Well, the Thriving Mindfully movement will continue to blossom and grow through this podcast. And you can find Thriving Mindfully podcast on Spotify. And it will continue to grow as a movement through my blog at anandaleeke.com, as well as my social media and in the videos and any online events that come up in the coming weeks, months, and years. I look forward to seeing you at one of the Soft as Fuck Sunday sessions and remaining connected to you in community as Thriving Mindfully movement grows. One of the ways that I've been able to prepare myself and to take action from a grounded place in my body, in my breath, in my life is through human design. Human design is an amazing self-empowerment, and it's IN-POWERMENT, empowerment, because it's from the inside out. It's a self-empowerment and self-discovery tool that was introduced to me in 2021 through a coaching experience. And over the past 2 years, I have experimented with it and integrated it into my life, my relationships, and my career and my business. And it is a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong experiment. I am now bringing it into a space where I'm offering it to folks like you to support you in preparing yourself and taking action in your life, your relationships, and your career and business. It marries my Thriving Mindfully, heart-centered approach to being present well in the real you. And I use it with my coaching clients. I use it with the Thriving Mindfully Academy members. And now I want to invite you to explore it with me as your human design doula. In human design, you are called to give birth, if you will, to yourself, the real you. And we do that every single day. We do it every single moment. We get 1,440 minutes each and every day. And in each minute, you're birthing yourself. I mean, you're always changing. You're always growing. And so in order to navigate that process, I'm here acting as a doula, someone who can midwife you through this experience, help you understand what human design is based on where you are in your life, help you take the parts of human design that resonate with you the most, because at different times different things resonate with us, and help you understand it, help you see how you can use it as a tool to connect with your own body's awareness and wisdom. If you're interested, I want to invite you to visit my website. Go to anandaleeke.com/human design to learn more about how we can work together. I offer 2 types of readings. There's a basic reading, and then there's a more advanced reading once you have an understanding of human design. Check it out. There's also a video that walks you through my own human design experience and gives you some basic information about human design. There are other podcast episodes for the Thriving Mindfully podcast that you can check out. Just go to anandaleeke.com/podcast, or wherever you find this podcast, you can look and see in the archive the human design episodes. So I look forward to connecting with you more about human design. Thanks for tuning in to the Thriving Mindfully podcast. If you're ready to be inspired and empowered with my coaching support, join me in the Thriving Mindfully Academy. Visit anandaleeke.com/academy. Now, if you're ready to dive deeper and move past your comfort zone with my one-on-one coaching program, book a discovery call with me today. Visit anandaleeke.com. If you need something juicy to read, check out my 3 mindfulness books: Love's Troubadours, a self-love and yoga-inspired novel; That Which Awakens Me, a mindful creativity memoir; and Digital Sisterhood, a mindful technology memoir. Go to anandaleeke.com/books. All of my books are available on Amazon.com. Well, that about wraps us up. And as I always like to say, may we all continue to embrace thriving mindfully in everything that we think, feel, say, and do. See you next time.